Hey mates, I've chosen Jamaica as the country of the Commonwealth and Rastafarianism as the topic to talk about, because Jamaica was the cradle of Rastafarians. This is the infographics I prepared to support my presentation. When listening the name of Jamaica, I think most of us evoke the image of a paradisiac Caribbean island with beautiful beaches of white sand and crystal clear water. Furthermore, it's remarkable the powerful influence of this really small island. Almost everybody has an idea about where it is in the map, and possibly might explain something about the people or the culture. Of course, everybody knows Usain Bolt or Bob Marley. Hardly could we imagine any of our summer parties without singing or dancing any of his famous hits. In fact, Bob Marley represents the stereotype of Jamaican, doesn't he? Typically with his long dreadlocks, those strands of hair formed by braiding or twisting, smoking weed, and living in a very particular way. That way of living that has been exported from Jamaica to the rest of the world is Rastafarianism, a religion for some and just a way of living for others. As I intend to show in my infographics, there is a close relationship between Rastafarianism and Jamaica with Ethiopia and his last emperor, Haile Selassie. But what is really Rastafarianism? Where does it come from? And which are their core values? This is what I am going to explain. Rastafarianism was born in Jamaica as a movement of black Americans who claimed the reconquering of Africa by the descendants of the thousands of people that were captured and brought from Africa to America, that were stolen from Africa. And this is why I subtitle my infographics Rastafarianism, the long journey back to Africa, because this is a story about slavery. At the end of the 15th century, Jamaica was inhabited by indigenous tribes. But after Christopher Columbus disembarked in 1494, they were either killed or died of diseases to which they have no immunity. So in order to compensate for the extinction of the Aborigines, the island was literally repopulated with slaves stolen from Africa. Slaves were hunted and traded as livestock to work in the plantations exploited by Europeans. Slavery destroyed human dignity, and that was the realm of Jamaica for more than 300 years. Jamaicans have been a population deprived from dignity and human rights for centuries. In those centuries of brutal deprivation is where the roots of Rastafarianism are hidden. After the abolition of the slavery in 1834 to 1838, things started to change. Europeans tried to perpetuate their supremacy, but the new generation of Jamaicans started to fight for a better life for Negroes. In this context, a young journalist, entrepreneur, and politician, Marcus Garvey, appeared as an extraordinary leader who concentrated the Jamaicans eager of liberty and freedom. He became the most influential black leader in the first decades of the 20th century, well before Martin Luther King. Marcus Garvey founded the Universal Negroes Improvement Association, the UNIA. The main purpose of UNIA was to return all the descendants from Africans who were living in America those days back to their countries in Africa. Not only were they against the integration among blacks and whites, but even supported the Ku Klux Klan, sharing principles such as America for Americans, Africa for Africans. Marcus Garvey was a very controverted person and was followed both as a political leader as well as a kind of prophet. And in a prophecy is where you find out the connection with Rastafarianism. Yes, because it was in the late 20s that Marcus Garvey announced that a black Messiah, in the sense of the Old Testament in the Bible, meaning a king following the tradition of the Bible, heir of Abraham and Jesus Christ, will be crowned king of the Negroes, will be crowned king of Africa. And this Messiah will lead the reconquering of Africa by Negroes. Very soon after that prophecy, in 1930, the Rastafari Makonnen, direct descendant of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, took over the empire of Ethiopia. Ethiopia, who was the only country who has never been colonized by Europeans. Rastafari Makonnen was crowned as Her Royal Majesty Haile Selassie, but his family name, Rastafari Makonnen, was taken by his follower, who saw him as the incarnation of Garvey's prophecy, calling themselves Rastafarians. Haile Selassie was increasingly followed by thousands of Negroes in Jamaica and all over the Americas as a religious leader and also as the King of Africa. The main objective pursued by Rastafarians was going back to Africa. Although it never became the massive movement dreamed by Garvey, Rastas focused their energies defending the dignity of Negroes and nurturing the hope of returning to a promised land. That has been the leitmotif of their songs. Because music plays a relevant role for Rastas. Reggae music was born in Jamaica, created by Rastafarians, being Bob Marley one of their best known ambassadors. Especially in the 60s and 70s of the last century, reggae songs were spread over the world, recruiting a lot of fans and supporters. And nowadays, Rastafarianism is alive and kicking. Every year, the Reggae University organizes a meeting called Rotten Tom's Unplugged, where they promote Rastafarianism in a program that includes conferences, panel of experts, and a lot of music and fun. Rotten Tom's Unplugged takes place every summer in August and nowadays in Spain, in Benicassim, and is attended by people from many countries, especially from Ethiopia. Rastafarians believe that living in harmony as a part of nature is African, fostering peace and love, enjoying community, singing and dancing in an environment where cannabis has become one of their symbols. So in conclusion, if Rastafarianism is a religion or a culture, is an open argument. I am not very interested in such a discussion. In my view, Rastafarianism goes beyond dressing more or less exotic clothes, enjoying long dreadlocks, or smoking king-size joints. At the end of the day, who wouldn't strive for a better future, a life in harmony with nature, and in peace with neighbors? But on top of that, we shouldn't forget the profound pain suffered by millions of men and women, treated as slaves and deprived of dignity for centuries. Just for this single reason, I fully respect genuine Rastafarians, and I hope you do so. Thank you very much for your attention.